Oh, now it's trying again.
Okay.
You want strawberries? Why don't you eat strawberries? I have them all cut up in there. Okay. Ooh, are we live? Yay, it's working. I don't know why we can't see you though. That's very weird. But you can see me still?
Yeah, I can see you still.
Okay, let's see if I can.
Do I need to share content or anything?
No, something something happened when I took it to Facebook and it like only shows me now on my screen. So I think it's something in my settings somehow that I'm going to try to figure out real quick.
Okay. Oh, now I'm on, but now it's just me.
You want strawberry? Yeah. Why can't we see both of us? It's something in my settings somehow that I'm going to try to figure out real quick.
Okay. Oh, now I'm on, but now it's just me.
Oh shoot, both of us. Do you hear it? Do you hear us like our echo?
Yeah, I do. It's like going back and forth between just you and just me.
All right. Figure this out. I think we almost got it. Do you hear it? Do you hear us like our echo?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, there we go. Now I see you. Okay, can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you on the phone, like I'm watching the live feed and, well, but it's lagging too, so.
Okay, perfect. So I have my live on the Facebook group muted, so we don't hear that echo anymore. So I think I'm just hearing you live now.
Okay.
We're good?
Yeah. Can everybody see both of us, I wonder?
No, it goes back and forth. So like when I'm talking, it shows me, and when you're talking, it shows you.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So
I'm gonna get off the iPad. I was gonna see what they were saying. Oh my God, sorry, that's so loud. Is there a lot of background noise on my end?
No.
Okay, cool. Somebody's like mowing their lawn or something.
Oh. Thank you everyone for bearing with us while we figured this thing out. It wasn't letting me bring her live on Facebook, so we had to figure out how to Zoom and then live stream from Zoom. So now I got my 4-year-old here. What's up, Edie? Or you have to wait. You can have a strawberry because you need that yourself. If you want an orange, you have to wait. Well, you're gonna have to wait, honey. No. Oh, now I hear that lawnmower.
Yeah. Do you mind shut that window?
Oh, it's fine there. See if we got any. Okay, perfect. All right, we got some people watching. We got the background noise cut off. Okay, so I'm just going to text Jessica because she asked me to stalk her. She wasn't here. Perfect. So, Julie, thank you for hanging out with me tonight. I really just wanted to get on here and chat because you are such a great example, like real life example of the things that I've been talking about in this group. And I know that you have started implementing the things that we talked about, like the journaling and reframing your mindset. And I know that you've already had some really cool experiences. So I really just wanted to get you on here and kind of share what has been happening with you in the last few days and your experience with it, because I know that even, as recently as last week, conversations we were having, you were like, I don't really know what this, tell me about the journaling, tell me about the mindset stuff. And it was, it still all is pretty new to you, but even just committing a little bit of time has had some really cool impact on you already. So I guess I just wanted to hear what you had to say and like what this process has been like for you and what you've kind of been up to the last few days with your mindset work.
Yeah, so ever since I've been following you for like the past 2 years, I kept seeing you post about things like mindset and how you start your day off with journaling. And I always kind of felt like, okay, like that's cool for her, like that she does that. I don't really need that. Like I really didn't believe in it, to be fully honest.
Yeah.
And then it was the last live where somebody commented, can you touch more on journaling? And then we had our phone call meeting and I was like, okay, I'm just like gonna give this 100% and see what happens. And I'm gonna really, really try it. So then I asked you, I was like, what's the format? And you're like, yeah, no, there's not a format for that. you're like, you're like, yeah, no. And I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense because then it wouldn't be authentic for anybody. It wouldn't really, it would totally defeat the purpose, is what I'm getting at. So
I love that question because that's totally like, that's such a type A, like, okay, I'm going to journal now, tell me how to do it. And it's so funny because it's like the exact opposite of what journaling is.
Yeah, like my OCD was really kicking in. And I think that's why, like I always would like try it, like, you know, kind of like half-ass it and then like back off and then, okay, try it again. Because I needed like a structure. I needed points, bullet points to follow. So I was like, okay, if I need bullet points, I'm going to create my own bullet points for whatever I'm feeling. And I'm thinking as time goes on, I'll have like a different setup for whatever mood or whatever I'm in. But here recently, I've just kind of had the same setup where, you know, I start with my mindset, or as you say, like the intentions for the day, and then work my way down from there. So then I go from my mindset and my intentions to affirmations, and I just kind of keep it to 3. That way I can keep these in my mind all day. And then I did Pinterest like journaling topics, how to like start your day off on a clear mindset, because I needed something to prompt me. And so then I found this like 31-day thing, and I started on day 1 and I answered the prompt. And then but as soon as I read this prompt that was from today, I was like, ooh, why did I feel so weird after I just read that? And so then before I even answered the prompt, I went in and kind of like laid out what I was feeling and why, and kind of like dug a little bit deeper and then answered the prompt. And then after I answered that prompt, what was the prompt over today? Like, if money wasn't a factor, what would you be doing right now? And I was like, why did I just automatically feel like not good enough just by reading that prompt? And so then I had to like address that first. And then after I addressed that, I was able to like answer the prompt. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do moving forward so that money isn't a factor? And like these are the steps I'm going to take and the mindset I'm going to have so that I can live up to the answer that I just wrote. And then so after I did all that, then I just summed it up with like 3 words that I wanted to keep in my mind all day. And today that was calm, joyful, and happy. And I always like finished it with a Bible verse that I felt like correlated with that day. And then that led me right into my Bible reading for the day. So it just kind of all piggybacked off of each other.
So did you feel like those 3 words that you like kept in your mind all day, do you feel like your day kind of unfolded that way because it's what you were like focusing on?
I feel like it did to a certain extent. And like I was telling my friend Becca, the one that I always am telling you about, I told her, I was like, hopefully as time goes on and I do this more on like a consistent basis, I'll see more and like I'll see growth in myself versus just like going through the motions right now, which I'm trying to start like a new pattern, like a new, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you do something for 21 days and then it's a habit. I'm trying to create a new habit here. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll all like come to play. But today I felt like I was doing it right.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool. And I just really just wanted you to share that little bit because it's so hard to explain. Like if you don't experience it, like that self-awareness piece that you're like, we walk around completely unaware of 99% of our thoughts. You know what I mean? Like you said, you noticed that you felt weird reading that sentence, but I bet 3 days ago, before you even knew to look for that, you wouldn't have thought twice about it. So you know what I mean? So we're walking around all day, every day, like with these little cues inside of us, but we don't even know how to listen to them and pay attention to it. And so it's really taking that quiet time that we start to learn these things. And so like when, you know, when people ask me like these questions, like, what am I supposed to be doing when I'm journaling? Like just listening is really the answer. And so much cool things come from it. But if you don't take the time to do it, it's really like, it just sounds like bullshit. It sounds stupid because it's like, what are you sitting in silence? That's going to like bring me any answers. But yes, it really does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I even like moved. So I want my morning regimen. Whenever you ask me like, okay, well, are you a morning workout person? Because that was something that I struggled with, that I like couldn't get up and do it. And I was like, you know what? No, I want to do this for myself. I feel like it would help me start my day off better. So I'm in my sunroom right now, and this is kind of like my space. I've made it that for like since we've been on quarantine or whatever. And like I had a whole bunch of pillows stored in this closet, and I took all the pillows out and I moved them, and I put my workout stuff up there, and I put my journal up there. And so now I just like come into the sunroom in the morning, open up the window and do it, and just like have my smoothie or whatever, my green shake or whatever you want to call it, and just do my routine.
And so has that been working since you kind of made that space for it?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that whenever I get back into like regular life, I'll need to make sure to wake up a little bit earlier to do that. But I really am trying to start my morning off calm versus whenever I was working and I was like literally sleeping like 10 minutes later than what I should have, and then was rushing, and it set the whole tone for my day. Like, I don't want to be doing that whenever we get back. So I've got a lot of time to prepare for that now.
Yep. And so for me, like just to kind of maybe give you some tips that might help, what helped me make that transition from, because I am a sleeper, like I will sleep until noon if I can. Like I do not like getting up early, but I also like getting up in enough time to really sit and just kind of have my morning start off on that calm note has been the game changer for me. And it was really hard for me to get in that swing because it was like this catch-22. Like I wanted to sleep in, but I also wanted that time, and I couldn't have both, you know? Oh, hold on, Jessica, it's not a group Zoom. Julie and I are just kind of talking on a live stream together. So anyways, it took me a while to figure out, okay, what is it? Why am I so tired in the morning? Like, why am I not waking up? Well, it was because I was staying up too late, obviously. But what helped me be able to sleep in more in the morning was basically moving everything from my morning routine that I could into my bedtime routine. So meaning like, you know, if I could get my lunch ready the night before, get my smoothie ready the night before, get my clothes laid out the night before, like any step that I could take out of the morning. And it gave me like an extra half hour in the morning. I didn't even realize how much time I was wasting by just like walking from room to room looking for stuff, or, you know, again, like figuring out what to pack for lunch, or sometimes it just, you know, run out of time and then I'd not pack my lunch and then I'd be buying something shitty. And, you know, it's just this constant like, you know, downfall when you kind of start out on a chaotic note. And so what I found for me was the two things, like being really strict with myself about going to bed on time and incorporating as many things into my evening routine so that I didn't have to do them in the morning.
Yeah, and I felt like I was struggling with that too. My fiance, he comes home super late, and then I find myself like eating dinner with him at like 10 o'clock at night, which is totally fine. But then I know that like if I don't do these things in the morning, I just wasn't doing them. You know, I'd write them all down in my planner, and then I would sleep in, and so then I would circle them like didn't do that, need to do it later. And then later it came and I got off work, and then I was going to the gym, and then I wasn't, you know, making time for my planner or not my planner, my journal, or reading my Bible. And then we were eating really late, and it's like, okay, we've got to figure something else out here. So I'm trying to really, you know, obviously not waking up super early right now, but just doing the steps so that whenever we do get back into normal life, I can just like shift that to a different time frame. So yeah. And I feel like it really did kind of change my mindset today. Like I said, I was kind of lazy today, which is fine. But I mean, having those thoughts in my mind all day really did keep my mind from racing as much. And I'm like so OCD. My mind is always just like, blah, blah, blah. So it was nice to just kind of have it calm a little bit.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it really is like what you focus on, you create more of. So like getting in the habits of putting these routines in place is going to make your work days go so much smoother. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like now you're getting to do it without the pressure of time constraints so much, and you're getting to see the results from it. And so like it'll just make you that much more want to stick to it when you do have the time constraints. And when you do, like your work days are going to go as smooth as they go now, they're going to go 1,000 times smoother because everything really is connected. I know like we talked about, you and I did, not me in the group, but like basically the 4 areas of your life. Like imagine, you know, a circle, and you have you have your health and fitness, you have your business, career, work, whatever that is, you have your family, and then you have your spirituality, whatever that means to you. And if you take any one of those pieces out, the wheel doesn't roll. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so if you are paying equal attention to all those aspects of your life, all of them are going to flourish. If you are concentrating only on business and work, like all the other things are going to fail, and eventually your business is going to fail too. So it's not, you actually are going to do more in your business by paying attention to the other 75% of your life.
Yeah, whenever you like had that like visual in my head, it really clicked with me a lot because I was like, I understand I need to know the numbers behind my business and I need to obviously have professionalism and all these things that go into my business. And I was focusing on the complete circle just within my business, but I wasn't focusing on every other aspect. You know, I was going to the gym, but I knew I wanted to incorporate more cardio and I just kept putting it off. And I think now that I have the time to be able to see result from actually implementing all of these tools that you've been like guiding me through, I think that I'll see the result and then continue with it versus getting worn out super fast because I'm super busy and being like, I didn't see anything from that anyway. You know, kind of like the social media thing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if I, you know, it took like, well, it only took me like a week and a half, 2 weeks to really see result from it. But you have to do it for that long to see a result. It's just like anything else in your life, you have to do it for that long. So this is like prime time. You know, we probably have another 3 weeks and a half before we have to really go back to work. And on the work note, I'm kind of going off topic here, but I'm just going to mention this in case it's going to help anybody else. Whenever I was looking at my books and I was getting text messages from clients saying, yeah, no, single color touch up is not going to cover it. Like they have a good point. They're actually due for their highlight touch up at this point versus just their single color touch up. And then I was noticing everybody that I rescheduled initially was like back to back to back. And I was like, crap, now I need to extend this person and this person. And now I'm working 70 hours and, you know, 5-6 days. Like I can't do that. So on Sunday, I sent out a mass email, text message to everybody, just wording it really well, saying like, looking at my books, I know that I can't physically and mentally handle that much and be able to accommodate all of your hair needs because your hair will need more. I worded it way better than that right there, but
that's the gist of it.
yeah. And so then today I just started messaging, you know, the first client on my book and the second client on my book. But what I did before that, let me back up, is I went through each appointment and like how you told me to plan my weeks before. I was like, okay, what can I upsell her? And I'm already trying to upsell them before they're even in there. So
you're planning that upsell.
Yeah, for sure. And then everybody is actually liking that a lot more because I'm going to be able to give them more attention versus rushing everybody through. And, you know, I see some stylists posting on like the hairstylist education forum, like, it's fine, I'll let them leave damp, you know, and they'll get the next person in. And I'm like, no, like I can't mentally do that. And so, yeah, that's helped me. If anybody needs help with like rescheduling, that's a good tip. Just like plan it all out.
I love that. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's how I'm looking at it too. I mean, if people, I just won't work myself like that. Like I'll work more, you know, the first few weeks when we go back, I'll work more than my regular hours, but like, I know how much it takes me to recover when I work myself to the bone, and I just won't do it for any reason. So like if they're going to have to wait a little while to get in, they're going to have to wait, but guess what? They're not going to get half-ass service from me, you know, like, and as much as we think we're not half-assing stuff, when we are totally drained and it is like we've given everything we have and then we still have 1 or 2 more people, those 1 or 2 more people are getting half-ass service. You know, even if they're out okay, they are getting half-ass service. And so I'm just looking at it like, you know what? everyone is in the same boat here. They all know the situation. They all know that every one of my clients has had to go as long as they did. And basically first come, first serve. Like whoever was on the books first, they're getting scheduled first. Everyone else, if we have to push them back, we have to push them back, you know? And not that there's anything wrong with working a whole lot more the first few weeks. Like I totally understand doing that and there's nothing wrong with it. That's just kind of my take on it, is like, I will not disrupt my peace for really anything.
Yeah, like I looked at my books and Sunday I was really struggling with this for some reason, and I was just like, because like my mom and my sister, Javier was doing some work for them on their house this weekend, and they're both just like, well, it's the name of the game. You're just going to be worked to the bone, and that's what's going to have to happen. And I was like, no, like I'm not going to be doing that. I was like, if clients don't understand, then they can go somewhere else. I was like, I'm not going to do that. So then I had to like sit by myself and like think about, okay, what can I do so that I'm not feeling this way? Because I felt like, not that any of my clients had made me feel this way, but I was like, why am I being so attacked? I'm being walked all over already, and that's not going to happen. So I was like, what is feasible for me? And moving forward, I know I'm going to be compromising some things in my personal life just for those first couple weeks. Yeah. But I'm already trying to like mentally prepare myself for like, don't beat up on yourself if you don't get every cardio day in whenever you go back. It's going to be 2 weeks and then we're going to go back to this plan. I'm going to keep, so the 4 things that I like to do every day is journaling, time with my Bible, workout, and work on my Spanish lesson. So if 2 of those have to go for a little bit, then 2 of them have to go. But I already have that in my mind, so then I can like cope with it a little bit better.
Well, and it's like, and that's life. That's how it goes. And looking at it like that is going to allow you to be more productive and not beat yourself up or berate yourself over it. Because like a lot of times what we do is we expect too much of ourselves, or like, I bet even a few weeks ago, you probably would have planned out in your schedule, like to work 12-hour days and then still fit in your Spanish lessons and you work out somewhere. And like, you would have written that on paper, and then real life happens and we just can't do that. And then you would have felt like shit, even though you just worked a 12-hour day and did a whole lot of stuff. Like you would have been down on yourself because you weren't physically able to do all the things you planned for. And so it really is like, to tie it all back in, when you're really taking time to sit with yourself and journal and get in touch with yourself, you also are starting to learn your own cues and what you can handle and what you can't handle. And then you start planning your life realistically around those things. And what that does for your mindset, holy shit, it takes you from feeling like a failure to feeling successful, because it doesn't matter. Like, let's say you do the same amount of things today and tomorrow. If today I had a mile-long list of things and I only did half of them, I feel like a failure because I'm still looking at the other half I didn't do. Versus tomorrow, if I write down a realistic amount and I'm able to check them all off, well, now I feel accomplished because I did all the things on my list. And it's those small little things, so it seems so simple. You're like, well, you still did the same amount of things. Yes, I know, but it's back to your mindset. Your mindset dictates your reality. And when you are viewing yourself as successful, you are creating success. When you're viewing yourself as a failure, you are creating failures.
Yeah, and I even put that in my post today. I posted about journaling and stuff like that. And I said, if you speak and think negative thoughts, you're right, you're going to have negative outcomes. If you speak and think positive thoughts, you're going to have positive outcomes. And that sounds really corny for people that it's just clicking with me now ish. Like I totally can relate to the people that are like, oh, okay, whatever. But it really is a thing. It really is. And it's like my mindset, because I have to have a plan and a regimen and, 1, 2, 3, ABC. So looking at this quarantine time, I was like, okay, I have 4 weeks. Okay, the first week, I'm going to focus on getting my social media plan together and figuring out my finances. The second week, I'm cleaning the crap out of this house. The third week, I'm going to start implementing all of the little things that I want in my life. And the fourth week, I'm going to make it all flow together rhythmically. And rhythmically. So that I think that just giving yourself a little bit of grace and being like, okay, this is the focus for right now. So if something else has to fall back a little bit, don't forget about it, but like it can be pushed back just a little bit for something that needs
making the choice versus the choice being made for you. And what I mean by that is, if you are saying, okay, I'm going to do everything just because it can fit on a piece of paper in the time frame, but like that's not real life. We're not capable of like I can schedule things in all day long, doesn't mean I have the mental capacity to do them all. So like when you are so when I schedule all these things in, inevitably I can't do them all. The choice is being made for me as to which ones don't get done. You know what I mean? Like I'm not choosing. Like it's just whatever doesn't make the cut, basically. You know, whatever I don't have time for. Versus when I'm planning for it, now I'm choosing what's getting done first and what's waiting, and then that puts me in control versus life happening to me.
Yeah, and I was noticing too, the things that I was cutting out were all the things that were going to benefit me and my personal growth. And so then it was kind of affecting my business. And so really making sure to have the time to do that. Just like totally writing it down at the beginning of the day really did change my mindset. You know, I mean, that's probably a huge thing. Like you mentioned before in one of your lives, like journaling doesn't have to be this hour-long process. Like just write down your like what your goals are for the day, or your mindset, or your affirmations, or whatever you feel like is what you need to be doing, and let that be your journaling for the day. Or like if you want to follow a prompt, or if you want to you just have something on your mind, like just you know, I was totally overthinking it, and it's just it doesn't need to be that that crazy.
Well, and most people do overthink it just because, and me too, like I used to too, because it's so foreign to us, and like we don't realize how simple things can be and how big of changes these simple things can make, because we literally are not taught this, it operates this way. But I'll tell you what, every seminar I've been to of like the top, you know, like the most successful people, all of them say basically the same things that I've been talking about in here. Like it's actually working less. It's journaling. It's morning routines. Like it is, magic is made in those simple things.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was, whenever I wasn't you weren't coaching me, and I was trying to be like, okay, like is what she's going to teach me is something I can't find somewhere else. Like, is she actually like legit? So then I was comparing, fully honest, I was comparing you to like Britt Siva and a Pretty Little Ombre, whatever her name is, Jamie C. And I was like, okay, they are all saying the same thing. The difference between you guys though is like you are more one-on-one, obviously, because you're like here, whereas the other ones I would just be another number. But yeah, you guys all do teach the same type of mindset deal. And if they're all successful, like why can't we create that ourselves? Why do we have to be running around like mice on a circle thing, ball? That's what I have pictured in my mind right now.
That's what I picture too. And it's like, yeah, like the phrase that just popped in my mind when you said that is, don't take advice from people you wouldn't take criticism from. Like I know you have people in your life, and we all do. I'm just talking about you because I know, because we're having the conversation, but like, you know, you have people in your life who believe that you have to struggle to make money. And you're like, no, I'm not choosing to believe that. You can believe that and you can keep struggling, but that's not my reality. And that's the reason that you're not going to struggle, is just because you're choosing that that's not your reality. Like choosing, like struggling also is a choice, and it all comes from these simple things that I'm sharing in here is really what changes everything.
Totally. Yeah. Because whenever I was expressing stress to one of my friends, I was like, what am I going to do? Like everybody is like referring to my clients. They're all going to be looking to me to figure this out. And I was like, I don't know how to figure this out. I don't know how to create a plan where I'm not completely overworked and still being successful and running my business the way I want to run it. And their response was, oh, it'll all pan out. It'll all work. And I'm like, yeah, because I have to be the one to figure it out because I'm the freaking boss. Like, if I don't figure it out, it won't get figured.
If I figure out a way to make it work.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to, that's how I work. I have to think it out loud and like, you know, here's where I want to be. What do I got to do to get there? And I was just like, oh my gosh. And that is why they are where they are in life. And that's why I refuse to be like that.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh.
Well, I'm really excited to have you on here sharing, because I mean, I'm just going to be totally honest too. Like when we started working together, it's very evident, like you are very successful in your business. You've done a lot on your own, like with just a little bit of, I know like we had one conversation one time over Facebook Messenger, and then you went and like did everything that we talked about like that. And so like you are just a business oriented goal, you know, like I just cannot say enough about how inspiring you are and like how good you are with business. And when we first started talking together, it was very evident to me that like, yes, you were like, you know, a business girl, but I could tell like the other things were going to really throw you for a loop when I started talking about, you know, journaling and working less and actually paying less attention, not less attention, but like, you know, focusing your shit off of business so much. I knew that was going to be like a little struggle for you. And I was really excited to see what happened, because seeing what you created, being so focused on your business, like I knew the minute you started focusing on your self-care just as much as you focus on your business, like things were just going to explode. So, and it's only been what, a few weeks, and all these things have massively shifted already. Like you got what, like 9 new clients from social media?
I did. So yeah, Ron, we just completed our 3rd phone call, and those were still on schedule. So yeah, however long that is. So yeah, I've gained 9 new clients. One of them is an entire family. I don't know this lady. She didn't say she was referred by anybody. She said that she's been watching me online. And my thought process initially was like, okay, cool, it's 5 haircuts. But then I was like, no, that mom is probably, you know, guinea pigging out her whole family because she probably wants a color, because all women get color. Right. I'm like, so that's awesome. Excuse me. I probably gained 4 new haircut people and a color haircut person. Yeah. And then I had 2 more people just find me offline, and I'm in the place now in my career where I'm like, you have to put a credit card down before you can schedule with me. Yeah. And these were higher tickets than I was used to having, and I was not going to compromise that. They put their credit card down, they're booked out. And
wow, my girl.
Yes. So I'm like, I literally booked those people, and I just sat there like, wow, like this is where I'm at right now. Like, yeah. Like in January, I was working in a whole different type of atmosphere and mindset. And yeah, not gonna lie though, the whole mindset thing really did kind of throw me for a loop, because that's just not, it wasn't like who I was. Yeah.
You're going to think I was crazy, but I'm like, hey, she's here and she wants to know what I have to say, so I'm going to tell her.
Yep. And I creeped on you for 2 years, and I was noticing your posts, and I was like, they all resonated with me. And I was like, crap, like I just need to do it. I was like, whatever she's doing, I need to be doing that. And so you gave me all this advice, and you gave me big jumps before I could even sign on with you. I mean, you're like, okay, yeah, you can work with me, but I don't feel comfortable accepting your money if you're in that salon. Like you have to be in your own space. And I was like, cool. Like a month later, I was signing my lease. I was like, I'm just going to do it.
That was true. Like I remember telling my coach, like, hey, remember that girl I had a consultation with? Like she signed a lease already. And she was like, what? And just like a backstory for everyone watching, not that I won't work with you if you don't work in your own salon space, but after our first conversation, what Julie was looking to build, I just didn't feel was possible in the atmosphere she was in, because it just wasn't in line with who you are as a stylist, and it wasn't in line with your standards, honestly. Like just from having a conversation with you, I could tell that. And so the reason I said, I don't, you know, I won't work with you while you're still working there is because I knew that this big vision that you gave me wasn't possible. And I'm not in the business of taking somebody's money, you know, if I don't really believe that I can help them create what they came to me for. If you would have came to me and you would have said, I just want to make more money, like I would have been like, cool, let's do this. But you had such a big goal that I'm like, I know how important the energy of the space you're in is. And I just didn't see that happening where you were, because you do have such high standards, and you know, you just needed to be in your place where you could control the environment. So that's kind of why I was, you know, just really strongly like, I can help this girl, but not where she's at. And within seriously like a month, you had your own space, and I just could not believe it. Like that just made me so happy.
Yeah, and it was a, you know, massive step. I was going from paying $700 a month for a booth to, you know, more than my mortgage for a suite. But I toured 3 different locations, and I was like, this is a window front. I was like, I'm gonna just do it, you know, because I kept hearing your story about, okay, you went from a commission salon to your own suite, like suite sharing or whatever. And then you're like, okay, I need my own. Okay, I need it bigger. Okay, I need a helper. And I'm like, dang, like that was fast. I'm like, I'm going to regret this if I don't get the luxury size with a window. Yeah. So I toured a whole bunch of them, and Javier went with me to every single one of them, super supportive. And he was like, you know, I really only support you if you're in these certain areas because that's high dollar areas, and I know that you can do it. And so now he's actually like the maintenance guy there, and he redoes everybody's suite for them because he did my wall, and I love my wall. Yeah, he has a master key to everything now.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
It's been a complete life-changing event for me because immediately, even though I moved in February, and that's usually a slow time, it's January, February, you know, to like April for people. No, super busy. My old owner actually let me advertise that I was moving because, I mean, she wasn't going to lose clients off of me. Right. And I gave her a big enough heads up. I signed the lease in August, waited for the building to be built, and then moved in February. And I have made, in like that just short time, what is that? Like I had 2 months, February and March. Yeah. What I used to make in like 6 months. So
I just got goosebumps.
That's huge because before that I was working, you know, I was working booth rental, but I really wasn't. I thought I was watching my numbers, but then, I mean, not like how they are now. And then on Vagaro, you can go in and see like your total sales. And I run everything through Vagaro, cash, check, everything, just because I want to be more organized. And so I could go through and see what I made, you know, in 2018 versus, or I'm sorry, in 2019 versus what I've made now. And I was like, holy crap. Even whenever I filed my taxes, I was like, I need to find some write-offs here because this is going to be crazy.
Like, oh my gosh, I made too much money.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling like, but definitely not complaining.
Right?
You just need to be more organized so whenever tax season comes around, I'm not, you know, completely overwhelmed.
Right.
But yeah, I remember taking my first job at JCPenney's. It barely I just turned 18 and I took my first job at JCPenney's and I cried to my mom and I was like, I'm going to be working every weekend for the rest of my life and I'm only working evenings and this sucks, blah, blah, blah. A year later, I was commissioned. A year later, I was booth rental. Two years later after that, I'm in my own suite and now I'm 24 and you're my coach. And I'm like, I'm doing the thing now. Like, this is it.
I just got goosebumps. I love it. Thank you for sharing all that. That's really cool. And this is exactly why I wanted you on here because you're just so inspiring. Like that you're only 24 and all the shit that you've done already. I know I say it all the time, but I'm just blown away. And I am just like, I'm really proud of you. Even though I haven't been a part of your journey very long, I'm still proud of you.
I appreciate that so much. That means a lot coming from you because I might not have been a part of your journey, but you've been a part of mine for like I was looking through my pictures. It was whenever you taught that balayage class at Heritage and I showed up in my workout clothes like, girl, don't look at me, I'm going to work out. But something was like, I saw how you showed up and I was like, I need to be showing up a little bit better.
Oh, thank you. There was one more thing while we're kind of on here that I wanted to bring up. I actually used you as an example yesterday in the workshop that I gave. And so I wanted, just now that you're here, to kind of speak on it. But I had a social media workshop yesterday. It was supposed to be in person, but then of course the quarantine, so we ended up doing it virtually. And one of the things that I teach when it comes to social media is that you actually, in order to grow your following, need to not be only posting your work. And I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but because people actually want to know the person behind the page. And if they feel like they know you, they're more likely to come to you than even if you just have beautiful hair photos. And so I was sharing just the huge influx of clients that you've gotten since posting other photos or other, things, which I'm going to ask you about in a minute. But I was sharing yesterday, like your hair photos are so beautiful. And if you would go to your, if they were to go to your Instagram right now and scroll back and look at what your photos were before, like you would wonder, like, why the heck this person has problems getting clients on social media. Her photos are beautiful. The colors are beautiful. The background, it's like, if anybody wants to like inspiration photos for hair photos, go to Julie's page. They're so beautiful. And Seriously. And so, but like, that's why I use you as an example, because if you are at a standstill, like that just shows it is not about hair photos. Like people don't care nearly as much about the hair that we do as they do about us. So I know that you got this huge kind of, I guess, jump on your social media since you actually changed and we kind of made a different plan for how you were posting. So would you mind sharing a little bit of like what you've done differently and what results you got from that and how quickly you got results from it?
Yeah, so I definitely knew that I need to be posting more of like behind the scenes pictures, like in the salon, in action. I knew I need to be posting more about my life, but the problem that I was running into is the vision that I had for my Instagram layout, like what my feed looked like, did not match the environment that I was in. I was taking pictures of myself at work, and that whenever I would post that picture, I'm like, all the walls are legit yellow. Like I don't want that for my feed. And so I was just not doing it. So I was totally avoiding all of that. And then I was like, I don't know what to take a picture of me doing for like behind the scenes at home. I'm like, I'm not that cool. There's nothing I do that's entertaining. So then you sat down with me or on the phone and you're like, what's the 5 things that make up your brand? And we listed out these 5 things and you're like, okay, that's what you put in rotation with your hair pictures. So then I sat down and I was like, okay, the first 9 pictures on your Instagram is what everything needs to cover. That needs to be the rotation is 9. So I would plan out like a hair picture, a video, one of my 1 through 5s, and then a product, and all of these things that I wanted to incorporate, like everything that I could possibly want to advertise within my business in the first 9 pictures. And so then I started putting that on a rotation because, like I said, I have to have a rhyme and a reason. And then I would use the Plan app to go in and make sure it all looked cohesive. And I never thought of my Instagram as one that people would look at and be like, oh, dang, like that Instagram looks good, because I couldn't get the pictures to look the way I wanted them due to the environment that I was in and the lightings that I had. And so once I got that all taken care of, I'm not going to lie, now I look through my Instagram and I'm like, I'm so pleased with it. I see like my whitewashed brick wall in the back, and it just feels like me now. And I made a post on my stories today, like what people want to hear more about, and I was like, comment a heart if you want hair tutorials, comment a thumbs up if you want to see more like behind the scenes. And I had lots of people post like behind the scenes just of my life, and I had a lot of people asking me how I journal, and I'm like, I mean, I'll give you the advice that I have,
Right?
but I mean, it really made me feel like these people that were reaching out to me were people that used to hate me in high school. There was like 3 of them. And so I'm like, that made me feel like I have grown so much just by that right there. It was a confidence builder. So
I just got goosebumps when you said that. That's so cool.
yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And like, yeah, so what were your brand topics again?
My brand topics were I speak about God a lot and how I give him all the glory for the success that I have gotten so far. That was one of them. I aspire to be healthy and fit. And I just messaged your girl, the vegetarian, vegan, or whatever she is.
Hey.
Yes, I messaged her, so we're in contact. And then another one was like how passionate I am just about each individual client behind the chair. Like I wanted to show my craft and my specialties. The 4th one was, OMG, I'm having a brain fart.
I do that too. I always forget my 5th one. I'm like, I swear I know my brand.
Yeah, now I'm kind of losing it. Health and family. Like I wanted to post like a family behind the scenes thing.
Yeah.
And I have another one just as like a quote. So those are like the 5 rotations that I go on and touch on all of those, because then it like has a rhyme and a reason. I'm not posting like 2 quotes with like the inspiration behind that quote. It's like all mixed up.
Yeah. And so just, I put it in the comments for anyone watching the Plan app. That is the app Julie talked about that we use it connects to your Instagram, and it allows you to, so like it'll show your Instagram feed, but then you can add in, okay. I'm wrapping up in just a minute. Okay. So you can, it shows your actual feed, but then you can put in there other photos and then you can rearrange them and see how it's going to look best on your feed. So that's the app that I use and that I recommend people to use to plan out your Instagram photos. But then, you know, talking about her brand, like you are your own brand. It's not just the hair that you do. So part of your brand, yes, is the hair that you do, what you specialize in, those type of things. But then also to kind of figure out what your brand is, like that's why I say if you had 30 seconds to tell me about yourself, like what are the 5 things you want me to know? That's your brand. Like that's what you need to be posting about consistently in your social media, because that's how your clients are going to get to know you. And we're selling, I mean, that's what we're selling. We're selling ourselves. Our clients are going to come to us for us, not because of the type of hair that we do, you know, for the most part. Like they're not, even if you do great hair, if they don't like you as a person, they're not going to come to you.
Yeah,
Or,
what do they say in school? It's like 80% personality and professionalism and 20% quality. So
yeah, exactly. And so it's like, people have to, especially if you are charging high-end prices, people have to trust you in order to pay that, to pay you that. And so in order to trust you, they need to feel like they know you. And so how are they going to feel like they know you is by you sharing who you are with them online. And so yeah, that's really, is there anything else that you want to add for maybe anyone who might be, I don't know, kind of in a similar situation to you, and like anything you would suggest or advice?
my biggest thing would be like if I would have recognized to the full extent what I needed a year ago, I would have been doing this at 23. But I was giving myself a cap because I think deep down I was like, I'm not meant for that. Like there's no way I'll be able to obtain that. And then one day I was just like, I am so over it. Don't get to the point where you're just like so over it. Just like, you know, at the beginning of the day, like write down your intentions and then you like look back through it, you know, at the end of the month or whatever, and be like, this is how I have felt for so long. If it's constant like negativity, like what is causing that, to change that? Like just listen to your mind to recognize things sooner and give yourself more credit than what you probably are, is would be my best advice.
I love that. That's such a beautiful point, because it's like there's this, I don't even know how to explain it. I know you'll know what I mean, but it's like whenever you have that mindset shift, it's like there's no going back. But before you have that shift, you think that it's not accessible to you.
Yeah,
Like,
and we were even talking, me and another girl at my old salon, and she was like, well, really, what can Sam do different that we're not already doing? And I'm like, I genuinely believe that it's not just about business. And I was like, there's got to be more to it.
yeah.
And so then I just kept creeping on you and creeping on you. And now that girl is reaching out to me and starting to like all of my posts. And she just moved to her own suite now. So she was commissioned. She wasn't even rental. So.
And you'll notice too, like I truly feel like this is a huge part of like why I'm put on this earth, you know, to just share these things that have changed my life with other people. And you'll find that the biggest skeptics, it's like there's that negativity and skepticism almost because they know that it's true, but they want to fight it type thing. And so like I've noticed like my biggest criticizers and skeptics, I just keep shining my light and doing my thing, and I don't let people like bring me down. And then like years down the road, they'll hire me. You know, so it's really cool. Like I don't even get. There was a point where I would be offended by that, but now it's just like I'm to a point where I'm like, yeah, I know what that's like, and I know, and that comes from a feeling of like I said earlier, for whatever reason, like we think that that's not available to us, but it is. It's available to everyone who chooses to just open that door and be like, hey, you know what? This is the life I'm building. I'm not accepting anything less. There's no other options, and I'm going to love my life, and I'm going to make a lot of money, and that's that.
Yeah, I think because I was that type of person. I mean, I come from a very negative family, and I just have a tendency to gravitate towards that mindset. But I was like looking at, you know, I mentioned you, Britt Siva, Jamie C, and I'm like, they're just faking it. They're just faking it. And I was totally jealous is what it was. I felt completely inferior and not good enough. And then I was like, well, I'm just going to level the F up and just do all these things. And then, yeah, I mean, now, not only just in my business, but like, you know, a while ago, whenever we first started working together before this whole quarantine thing, we actually ended up hanging around this group of friends that these girls were brutal to me in high school. I was so not cool. But they totally like stepped back and were quiet. And it's not that I like felt like I dominated the room, but I felt like totally confident walking in there. And it's because of how my mindset is about like what I've created in my own life. And it same goes for my business. Is like I would have people that would literally laugh at me for sitting down and doing all my numbers at the end of the day, like all these other stylists that didn't understand. And then now they're asking me all these questions. And I'm like, I don't really feel inferior anymore. And that's a great feeling to have.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Your biggest criticizers are your biggest fans.
Yep.
Awesome.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Julie. I just appreciate you giving your time and sharing your insight and your wisdom and just sharing who you are with us. So thank you for spending this time with me.
Of course. Yeah. I'm so appreciative. And like, whenever you are like, hey, you want to jump on a Zoom? I'm like, oh my gosh. Yes. Huge honor. Like 2 years I've creeped on you and now I'm on a live with you. So yes.
Well, there we go.
I was one of your biggest haters and doubters and now I'm just like so grateful.
Now here you are.
Here I am. But now I get it though now. I get it.
Shine your light.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so grateful.
All right, girl. Well, thanks so much. Have a good rest of your night. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. And I or Julie, if it's for her, we'll get back to you guys later.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.